Reading.
Listen and practice.
Well, I haven't been here long, so I haven't had time to make many friends yet. After I get home from work, I spend most of the evening online, chatting with friends and family back home. Twice a week, I take classes to try and learn the language. Most of my colleagues speak very good English, but I haven't been out with them yet.
Listen and practice.
Mr. Judge is a really nice man. Everyone likes him and respects his honesty. But he is not really a judge. You know, the person who makes decisions in a court of law? That's a judge. One day, my mother wanted to make a deal with a company from another country. But it was too late to get a lawyer. They wanted to write out the agreement by hand and sign it that day. They asked Mr. Judge to write out the papers. Right away, Mr. Judge put on his glasses. He sat at a big desk. He put the words on paper and read them clearly and loudly, just like a real judge. Then everyone signed the agreement. Mom says that it's interesting when people's jobs match their names. Yes, I'd like to see Ms. Baker bake at the bakery.
Listen and practice.
Susan doesn't want to sleep. She says, "I'm not sleepy." Mom tells her, "Just lie on your bed, close your eyes. You will start to feel sleepy soon." But Susan still has a question. Why do I have to sleep? Mom says, you need to sleep to rest your body and mind. That way, you will be strong and healthy.
Listen and practice.
My mother was mad. What was wrong? She saw all the lights in the house were on, and no one was home. Mom said, "When you turn off the lights, you save energy, you save money, and you save the environment. Is that hard to do?" "No, of course not," said my brother. "Please, let's not forget again," said my mother.
Listen and practice.
Lisa likes to help out at home. When she gets home from school, she often babysits her little brother. She plays with him and reads books to him too. Her mom says, "You are such a great help. One day you will have your own home. Helping around the house is good for you too." Lisa is happy to help. It makes her feel good.
Listen and practice.
Erin lives with her parents in Canada. Both of her parents are Chinese. But Erin was born in Canada. Her friends in kindergarten are different colors. One day, Mom said to her, "Erin, you will have a baby sister very soon." Erin was very happy. She thought for a little while, then asked, "Mom, is my sister going to be Chinese or a foreigner?" Will her eyes be black or blue? And what about her hair? What color will it be? Will it be black or brown? Mom laughed. Your dad and mom are Chinese, so you will have a baby sister just like you. Erin smiled. She walked away, thinking of all the fun she was going to have with her new baby sister.
Listen and practice.
The Farmer and His Sons.
Once upon a time, a farmer and his 3 sons lived on a farm. The farmer always worked very hard in his fields, but his sons did not like to work. They were very lazy and only wanted to sleep and play cards all day. One day, the farmer called his sons to him. He said, "Sons, I am old. I will soon die. I won't be able to take care of you anymore. So I am leaving you a treasure in the fields. There's a treasure in the fields." The oldest son said, "A treasure? Is it gold?" "Diamonds?" asked another son. "Money?" asked the third son. But the old farmer just smiled and said, "A treasure. You will find a treasure in the fields." The old farmer died. His sons ran to the fields. They began digging and digging, dreaming of the treasure they would find. Soon, they dug up the whole field, but they didn't find any treasure. They found no treasure at all. The sons decided to plant some wheat, and soon the fields were full of tall wheat plants. Now the 3 sons worked long, hard days in the hot fields to cut and harvest all of the wheat. When the sons finished harvesting the wheat, they drove to town and sold it to the rich townspeople. They did this year after year after year, and they made a lot of money. The 3 sons grew old together on the farm. After many years, they began to enjoy working hard in the fields. Selling the wheat gave them plenty of money, and they were happy. They finally understood that the land was their father's treasure. The land itself and the wheat in their fields brought them a good life.
Listen and practice.
Long ago, people used candles to see at night, but now we have electric lights. It seems like our whole world is filled with lights. There are lights of all colors. There are big lights that light up soccer fields, and there are little flashlights too. We have so many lights that you can see them from space. Maybe we should turn out a few lights.
Listen and practice.
First impressions. According to psychologists, people form first impressions based on how you look, then on how you sound, and finally on what you say. The way you look makes up 55% of a first impression. This includes facial expressions, body language, and eye contact, as well as your clothes and general appearance. A friendly smile seems to be the most important part of this. The way you sound makes up 38% of a first impression and includes how fast or slowly you speak. People listen to your tone of voice and decide if you sound friendly or unfriendly, interested or bored, and happy or sad. What we say, the actual words, counts for only 7% of the message. People form first impressions within 10 seconds of meeting you, and first impressions don't change easily. If someone gets the wrong impression of you, it can take a long time to change his or her mind. One problem is that in different parts of the world, the same behavior can give people a different impression. In some countries, if you look at the person directly, it shows you are friendly. In other countries, it can be rude, and it's more polite to look away from the person. Standing close to someone and touching the person's arm is normal in some places, but in others, it's better to keep your distance. The person may think you're being too friendly.
Listen and practice.
My mother was born in Seattle in 1965. My father was born in Miami in 1963. I was born in 1988. My mother is a doctor. My father is a professor. They were in college together. My father's parents were very poor. My mother's parents weren't married in Canada. They met in the U.S. Grandpa John was an engineer. Grandma Helen was a piano teacher.
Listen and practice.
Hi, and welcome to What's Your Problem? How's your day been so far? Have you done all the things you planned? Kept all your appointments? Oh, and did you remember to send your mother a birthday card? If so, good for you. If not, well, you're not alone. Many of us in the busy 21st century are finding it more and more difficult to remember everything. Once upon a time, we just blamed getting older for our absent-mindedness. But now experts are blaming our modern lifestyle. They say that we have become the forgetful generation, and that day after day we overload our memories.
Listen and practice.
This story is told over and over again in our family. It's the story of how my great-aunt Dodie was born twice. She was born on Prince Edward Island on January 16, 1910. She was the fourth of 6 children. It was January and really cold, freezing. The midwife only just managed to get there in time through all the snow. When my great-aunt was born, she was blue, really blue, and she wasn't breathing at all. And the midwife said, "Well, I'm terribly sorry. There's nothing we can do. I'm afraid the child isn't breathing." But my great-grandmother stepped forward and said, "Nonsense! Give me that child." And she grabbed the baby from the midwife and ran downstairs into the warm living room, and then, incredibly, she opened the door of the wood stove and put the baby into the oven. And what do you know? A few minutes later, a great loud cry came from the oven, and my great-aunt had been born, or rather, born again. So, that's how my great-aunt Dodie was born twice. She's still alive, and she never tires of telling the story of her birth to her 5 children, 11 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren.
Listen and practice.
Last year, I graduated from college and I got a job in the same town. One day, for some reason, instead of going to work, which starts at 9 o'clock, I took the bus and went to the university for an 11 o'clock lecture. I was sitting there in the lecture room, and I thought to myself, why don't I know anybody? Then, suddenly I remembered that I'd graduated already and that I was 2 hours late for work.
Listen and practice.
There was a young mother bear who would bring a fish to her baby bear every day. One day, a wise old bear said to the young mother, "If you bring your baby a fish, he won't be hungry for the rest of the day. But if you teach him how to fish, he won't be hungry for the rest of his life." The young mother bear thought about it. She knew what she would do.
Listen and practice.
Dear Dr. Perry, I have a problem, and I hope you can help me. Last month, when I went up into the attic of my house, a big spider fell into my hair. I started to panic. I ran from the attic, down into the house, and out the door. My heart was racing, and I felt sick. Now, I am afraid all the time. In the morning, I look for spiders in my shoes. At night, I can't sleep because a spider may fall in my hair. I avoid going to the attic because of spiders. Also, I feel alone. I feel embarrassed because my family laughs at me. My family says, "Relax, spiders are small." But I never feel relaxed. I'm always worried. Can you help? I need some advice.
Listen and practice.
Dear Anne, I understand. Don't worry. A lot of people are afraid of spiders, so fearing spiders is normal. Spiders have many long legs, and people don't like that. Also, their webs look dirty. But most spiders are not dangerous, so they cannot hurt you. But for some people, a normal fear becomes a phobia. When you have a phobia, you cannot have a normal life. You can't do normal things. Other people may laugh at you, but they don't understand your fear. Don't be embarrassed. Why do we have phobias? Sometimes they start with a bad experience. Sometimes we learn a fear from our parents. Sometimes there is no reason. You might have arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. When you see a spider, you might have a panic attack. A panic attack is when your heart beats very fast, or you may feel sick. It might also be difficult for you to think. You can get help for arachnophobia. Here is some advice. Read about spiders so you will be less afraid. Look at photos of spiders, both live and dead ones. After some time, you will feel better. Try to relax when you see a spider. Think about something nice. Talk about your fear with family, friends, or a doctor. Good luck to you, Anne.
Listen and practice.
On January 15th, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 took off from LaGuardia Airport in New York City. It was going to Charlotte, North Carolina. There were 150 passengers and 5 crew members on board, the pilot, the co-pilot, and 3 flight attendants. The flight seemed like any trip, but very quickly it became an unforgettable adventure. Unfortunately, 3 minutes after takeoff, a flock of birds hit the plane's engines. First, the left engine was on fire and stopped working. Then, the second engine also stopped. Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger, the pilot, had to make a fast decision. He did not have enough time to fly back to LaGuardia. He had to do something. If he did nothing, then everyone on the plane was going to die, including himself. Sullenberger decided to land on the Hudson River. It was very risky, but he had to try. He used his experience as a pilot and as a glider pilot to land the airplane on the Hudson River. As a result, all of the people on board the plane lived. Days later, people called this event the Miracle on the Hudson. They couldn't believe it was possible to land such a big plane on a river. Passengers on the plane were very thankful to Sullenberger. One passenger told reporters, "Captain Sullenberger is the best pilot in the world." Another said, "He is a great leader. He should be the President of the United States." Government officials will study this unforgettable event. They do not want it to happen again. For now, people are just happy to be alive. Everyone agrees it was an adventure they do not want to repeat.
Listen and practice.
There are many kinds of animals. My favorites are monkeys. Monkeys are fun to watch. They climb trees, they jump, they swing. It seems that they never rest. On Saturday, my family visited a special place called the African Safari. It's a park where the animals roam freely, and people stay inside their cars to watch. As we drove slowly, we saw many animals: lions, tigers, giraffes, and elephants. This was the first time I observed them in an open field rather than in cages. When we were about halfway through the safari, a group of monkeys climbed on top of our car. They stayed there, scratching, making noises, and asking for food. Among them, one mother monkey held a baby under her belly. Through the car's roof window, we could see the monkeys clearly, their hair, their hands, and even their red rumps.
Listen and practice.
We were sitting outdoors today. It was a beautiful spring day. Birds were singing. The sky was really blue. We saw our neighbor, Mr. Viner, in his front yard. What was he doing? He was digging out small yellow flowers from his lawn. He worked all day. Mom said, "He must be very tired. He works hard to get rid of these beautiful yellow flowers." Dandelions are weeds. People spend a lot of time trying to get rid of them. They dig them up. They spray chemicals to kill them. Millions of dollars are spent each year getting rid of these pretty yellow flowers. But dandelions just keep growing. They flourish every spring. Mom loves dandelions. She really doesn't understand why people do not like them. They are pretty, they grow easily, and you can even eat the delicious green leaves, she says. My mom says she would rather enjoy them than spend all of her time trying to get rid of them.
Listen and practice.
Long ago in India, a monkey was sitting in a tree looking down over the jungle. A king and his servant stopped under that tree to rest their horses. The monkey sat watching the servant set out the peas for the horses. While the servant wasn't looking, the monkey rushed out of the tree and stole a handful of peas. Then he began climbing back up the tree quickly. But one pea fell from the monkey's hand as he climbed. Without thinking, the monkey opened his hand, trying to catch the pea. Of course, as he did this, all the other peas fell out of his hand and dropped to the ground. The monkey watched sadly as the horses feasted on the peas. He was hungry, but there was nothing he could do. His one chance to get the sweet peas was gone.
Listen and practice.
Alex was very excited today. "Mom, will you help me bake a cake?" asked Alex. "Okay," said Mom. "Get out a bowl." First, Mom put butter, sugar, and eggs in the bowl. Alex mixed and mixed and mixed. The batter looked smooth and shiny. Then, Mom added flour, salt, and baking powder. Alex mixed, mixed, and mixed. The batter looked thick and lumpy. Mom said, "Keep mixing." Alex mixed and mixed and mixed some more. His arm hurt, but the batter was smooth. Alex poured the batter into a cake pan. He then put the cake pan in the oven. Alex waited. The cake smelled sweet and sugary. His mouth watered. Mom pulled the cake out of the oven. The top was golden brown. "The cake is ready to eat, Alex," called his mom. There! Alex pushed the cake to his mom and said, "Happy birthday, Mom."
Listen and practice.
Over 2,000 years ago, there were many rich people in Rome. The Roman government controlled a lot of land. They controlled most of Europe. The Romans forced everyone to use Roman customs. Everyone paid Roman taxes and obeyed Roman laws. The government workers had to speak Latin. Latin was the language of Rome. Rich Romans had two houses. They had one house in the country and one house in the city. The houses had many rooms. There was a garden in the middle. The floors and walls had beautiful tiles. Artists painted pictures on the tiles. The houses had water, a kitchen, and heating. Most people at that time didn't have these things. Many rich Romans had slaves. The slaves cooked and cleaned. Romans took men, women, and children from other countries to work as slaves. The Romans ate 3 meals a day. They ate the main meal in the afternoon. They ate for several hours. Rich families asked friends to come over for a big meal. They had special foods like mice, oysters, and peacock. They ate with their fingers or a spoon. During meals, Romans didn't sit on chairs. They lay on sofas. Most Romans went to public baths. They relaxed and met friends there. They swam in the pools, read, ate, and got a haircut. There were 3 kinds of baths: very cold, warm, and hot. Romans cleaned their bodies in another way. They rubbed olive oil on their bodies. Then they took it off with a knife. They believed clean people were very healthy. Rich Romans were always clean. The men shaved their face hair and had short haircuts. Some men dyed their hair black. Women had long hair and wore makeup. They put powder on their faces and put color on their lips. The Romans also wanted to smell clean. They used a lot of perfume. They used different perfumes for different parts of their bodies. They put perfume on their furniture, clothes, and horses too. The rich Romans had interesting lives. Today we use many things from the Romans, such as perfume, glass windows, and even ketchup.
Listen and practice.
Every night it's the same thing. They argue all the time, and we can hear every word they say. During the day it's not so bad because they're both out, but in the evenings, it's terrible. Usually they start arguing about which TV show to watch. Then he slams the door and goes down the street to a bar. Last night, he came back really drunk. He was shouting outside his front door, "Open the door, you, so-and-so." I won't tell you the language he used, but she wouldn't open it. She opened a window instead and threw a plant at him. Tonight, she threw a chair at my poor husband. They're so selfish. They don't care about our baby one bit.
Listen and practice.
Jack is a college student, but he's still a teenager. He works very hard and is very organized. When his teachers hand out worksheets and other material, Jack always puts them in his notebook according to the date. That way, when he needs to look at a particular handout, he can find it easily. Jack's brother Joe is different. He's still in high school, and he doesn't work very hard in school. But he works hard at his job. He delivers newspapers early in the morning, and he's always happy on payday when he gets his paycheck. In the evenings, he often stays up late and looks at different websites. Jack was similar to Joe when he was in high school. Maybe Joe will change when he becomes a college student.
Listen and practice.
My uncle is a farmer. He grows watermelons. Each year in June, he harvests his watermelons. Then he sells them at the farmer's market. This year, someone began selling watermelons in early May. Most people think the earlier, the better. If they sell their watermelons early, surely they can make more money because people can't wait to buy their first watermelon of the season, even at a higher price. But there is a problem. Watermelons take time to grow. The fruits are juicy and sweet only when they are fully grown. Grandma saw some farmers rushing to harvest their watermelons. She told my uncle, "Don't be a fool. Think about it. If you buy a watermelon that tastes sour, will you buy it again?" A farmer should always be proud of growing the best food for people. Of course, my uncle didn't sell his watermelons early. He sells his sweet, juicy watermelons with pride.
Listen and practice.
Henry Ford was a man who truly changed the world. He was born on July 30th, 1863. He grew up on a farm in Michigan in the United States. When he was old enough, he left his family's farm and moved to Detroit to start living his dream. Mr. Ford wanted to make cars. In 1903, Mr. Ford started the Ford Motor Company. At that time, the company was only able to make a few cars each day. In 1908, Mr. Ford made the Model T. Everyone loved it. However, Mr. Ford could not make the Model T cars fast enough to meet the high demand. In 1913, Mr. Ford changed the way his company made cars. He decided to make a moving assembly line. The workers stayed in one place while the car parts moved on a conveyor belt. This lowered both the time it took to make the cars and the costs. Today, Henry Ford's great idea lives on. Assembly lines like his are still being used by many companies all over the world. Mr. Ford truly was an amazing man.
Listen and practice.
There was a little tree growing on the vacant lot near Mr. Smith's house. Every day, Mr. Smith would see this tree on his way to work. "Someday you will be big and give people shade," Mr. Smith said. Then, one day, Mr. Smith saw a man with an axe standing near the tree. "Oh, please don't cut it down," called Mr. Smith. "This is my land. I want to build a house here," said Mr. Brown. "This tree is in the way." "But it is such a nice tree," said Mr. Smith. "May I dig it up and put it in my yard?" "Yes," said Mr. Brown. "I would be glad to have somebody take it." Mr. Smith got a shovel. Together, he and Mr. Brown dug up the tree and planted it in Mr. Smith's yard. Mr. Smith was happy. Mr. Brown was happy, too. And you know what? I think, just maybe, the tree was happy as well.
Listen and practice.
Mr. Plano is more than 80 years old. He is healthy and happy. He rarely needs a doctor. What is the trick of keeping old age away from this old man? He says his trick is keeping busy. When you visit his home, you will find a lot of furniture and picture frames. He makes them himself. Is he a carpenter? No, Mr. Plano is not a carpenter. He was a gym teacher before he retired. When he retired, he started making furniture. He learned to cut, saw, sand, and glue. He loves wood, and he loves woodworking. More importantly, he loves to be busy. He collects the furniture that people throw away. From these old pieces of furniture, he makes stools, desks, tables, and picture frames. He says he is happy to be as busy as a bee.
Listen and practice.
Look around you. See the natural world. Birds that fly, animals that walk, and insects that crawl on the ground. It's all very interesting. Stop, look, and listen. If you open your eyes to nature, you will learn a lot. Look at an anthill, for example. At first, it looks like just another pile of sand on the ground. But look closer. What do you see? Ants are amazing insects. They work hard and do not rest. That's right. Ants never sleep. Now that is amazing. They are small too, but they have big brains. Each ant has about 250,000 brain cells. That's a lot for such a small creature. Ants are really strong too. How strong? Think about this. An ant can lift something that is 50 times its weight. And it does this with its mouth. Ants pick up and carry really heavy things with their mouths. Wow! Oh, and there's one more thing. There are lots of ants. How many? For every human, there are more than 1 million ants. So stop, look, and listen. Nature is amazing.
Listen and practice.
Some kids play baseball in their spare time. Some kids just sit around watching television. But Molly and Lily spend their time thinking of ways to help small animals. One day, their neighbor, Mr. Jones, came to them with a baby bird. "It fell from its nest in the tree in our backyard," said Mr. Jones. "Its mother left and no one came to help this poor little bird. Can you girls help?" The girls made a warm nest in a box. They went on the internet and found out how to take care of a baby bird. In a few weeks, the bird was strong. It was able to fly. They took it to the backyard and let it go. They were amazed to see it fly away. That's when they got the idea. The two girls made a sign. It said, "Animal Hospital."
Listen and practice.
On a nice summer weekend, Mike and his brother went fishing. They had good luck and caught some big fish. Happy with their catch, they put the fish in a pail and took them home. They were eager to have fish for dinner, especially since they had caught the fish themselves. The brothers proudly began to prepare the fish for supper. But then their sister Anne came home and saw the fish. She was very upset. Just seeing the fish made her want to cry. "Why did you bring the fish back?" she asked angrily. "They are lovely when they live freely in the rivers." "Don't you want to have a good dinner?" said one of her brothers. "No, I don't want to have dinner tonight," Anne protested. She would not let her brothers kill the fish and cook them in the pot. The two brothers loved their sister. They thought about what she had said. "Don't worry, we will take the fish back to the river," they agreed. Anne went with them. Now she had a big smile on her face.